Welcome to my messy workbench. This time we are actually doing something totally different. I have a backup. I have a file server that has a Windows RAID array and RAID 0. So if a drive fails, it should be okay to recover. However, I don't have a clue if that works or not. So today I want to find some hard drives that I can use in a test machine, set up an array like that and in a mirror, and then do some testing on whether or not things work the way I expected to work. And so right now I'm just going here through my bad hard drive, probably not one to try out. Go through my hard drive collection to see what hard drive we have. Not an awesome drive. That one matches this one here. That might work. Right, that's SATA. Yep. Those two probably are my choice hard drive. Yeah, those are like old connectors still. Probably don't want to deal with that stuff. Antique stuff here. And is that another one that is, nope, also the old style. Whole bunch of hard drives. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with right here these two drives, Seagate drives, older style, 160 gigabyte. Hopefully there's nothing important on. If it was, I haven't used those drives for quite a while. So let me go ahead and install them. So I actually had to change the drives. Those drives somehow didn't work on my computer. The computer wouldn't start up. So I have two other identical drives here, the disk 1 and disk 2. The disk 1 I went ahead and formatted it already and put a couple of files on there. So right here you can see I have a large video file that works, and also a small text file here as well, just for reference. So we have something on the drive. What we're gonna do is we mirror that to the second drive here. So we can see right here the drive ID of the first one is the 24AS, and the second one is the 15AS. And I'm gonna try to mirror them, so the file should be in both of those drives, and then somehow, I'm not 100% sure yet, we're gonna simulate a failure on one drive or just pull a drive and see what happens on that. So to do the mirroring in the disk manager, I just go in here and add mirror. Oops, wrong one. Add mirror, disk 2, and it's getting converted over to a dynamic disk. So now those disks are syncing, and I'm just gonna pause this recording here. So now the syncing between the drives is complete, and we can just double check again quickly on the files. So those files are still fine, and the video still works as well. Just awesome, this area. So that's just awesome. So the next thing is to simulate the drive failure, and the only way I can think of how to do it is just basically disconnecting one of the drives. So I'm gonna choose this drive here, since that was the original drive where we had the files copied to. So that's the one in 24 AS, and we leave in this out of the disk 2, which is the 15 AS drive. So let's go do that and see what's gonna happen. So here we have the two drives. They're the same size logically on what they can store. Physically, obviously, they're not the same size. So I'm just gonna go ahead and disconnect the cable here. I need 2 hands for that. And then we go back to the computer. So here we see the drive is marked as failed redundancy. And we have the drive 315 AS here still. So the second drive did switch up. So it's looked like I've unplugged the wrong one, but no, it's the right one. So let's see if we still can access the files. So let's go ahead and open up this file. That seems to be pretty good. Let's go ahead and play the video. And that looks also just perfect. Here's that part is. And it blew all the way over to the Big Rig area. Yep, so that's no issue at all. The next thing that I wanted to test was, can we take this drive and put it into another another computer? So that would be a nice test. So I put that drive into USB casing, so you can read access the drive using USB, and that's not successfully here. It just tries to detect it, and it's just not getting anywhere. So that would be a failure here. So I tried it once more with the USB caddy on a different computer, and I have their Pilot Magic installed and running. So right here, don't know if it works well. I got into the disk and we see the video here and the sample file. I copied the sample file to the desktop here, and we can see I retrieved the file just fine. And it would be the same for the movie, I'm pretty certain. I'm not gonna wait for that. But basically, because that drive is NTFS and maybe also dynamic, it wouldn't mount on the other Windows machine. So, but we still can access the data. So that's a good part. Unfortunately, it's not a simple blob in to another machine and get that disk running. The next step is to wipe this disk and then reinstall it into the Windows machine as a new disk and see that that works. So back at this computer, we still have only disk 2 installed. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this mirror here. So now we just have the test drive R. If we go ahead and double check that everything is still working, now, we can open the file just fine, and the video should work as well. Yeah, go around here. Yep, that's good. So the next step is to just shut down the computer and install the other drive, and then set up the mirroring again. So we have rebooted the computer. Here we have our R drive, the test drive, and the other drive that is unallocated. So we can just click on here again, add mirror, and choose disk 1. Click on the add mirror, and now it should set up the mirroring again. Yep, so it's syncing, and that will take a while, and then we are back to where we were. So the backup, not the backup, the failure scenario worked okay. It's not a simple drop and replace of a drive into another system, unfortunately. That would have been pretty awesome if that would be. But with backup utilities, you still can access the data on the drive, and that's only if your computer gets crashed, that you really need to move the drive to a different computer. If that's not the case and just one drive fails, the other drive is still good and going, you can just remove the failed drive and install the new drive. The only tricky part is you kind of have to catch that one of the drives have failed. And unless you're looking at the disk manager, it's probably pretty hard to detect that that's going on. Anyway, so that's what I have. Actually, let's try another thing here. I have a small little script that I use to detect whether or not my backup drive is failing, and if it is, it should alert. Let's go and look at that in a sec. So what I did is I hacked a script together that is running disk part and lists the volumes of it, and then whenever we have volumes that are not healthy, we send out an email message. That's what this script here does. Let's go ahead and see if that script works. Okay, that worked. So now I got a message that says our test drive failed. So let me go ahead and show you the message here. The body content was this here. So right now it tells that our drive is rebuilding. That's the status, and that's why I get an email. So that works perfect. So if the schedule works, I am good on detecting a failure. So I think this test is satisfactory. So I'm not mirroring for nothing, meaning it is actually providing me some safety. Again, with the mirroring, I still continue to do cloud backups and also local backups, because the mirroring isn't really a substitute for backing up. But if a hard drive fails and only one of those two, then replacing the mirror is a much quicker event than having to restore a backup. And I speak out of experience because I had to do that, and restoring the backup over the network for several gigabytes, more actually in the terabytes area. Takes quite a long time, even if you have high-speed internet. Anyway, with that, I hope that was helpful for you. It definitely was helpful for me to make me feel confident that my disk mirroring on Windows 10 works. Have a good one.